Hey guys, and welcome to today's video. In this video I'm going to do an absolutely beginner friendly tutorial on how to crochet my adorable little worry pets, as I've had quite a few requests come through over the different platforms and social medias of creating a pattern for these stitch by stitch. That's exactly what I'm going to do today. So if you would like to have a look at the other video, just so you know, it is I would class it as old now, but it's more of an in-depth look into what these guys are, the story behind them and everything. And in regards to the note that I leave with these pets, I have actually updated it, so I'll leave a new description of the note in the description below if you want to copy and paste it, if you're going to print them out and leave your own little worry pets knocking about. And just like in the other video, I will be using some of my yarn scraps, so these tiny little balls of wool that are left over from bigger projects that is too small to do anything with. So I'm just going to use a couple of colours that I've got lying around. Hopefully they're bright enough so you can see my stitches during this video. And let's move on to the materials. So straight away, as for yarn, like I said, I'll be using these two little scrap balls that are too small to do anything with. This will be my top colour, so where the blue is, and I'll be using the orange for the bottom and the horns. I'll be using a 4mm crochet hook, which is also known as a G. This is my go-to. I love this hook. I'll be using a stitch marker, but that is completely optional. Personally, I love them and they're perfect, especially if you're just starting out. You'll need a yarn needle just for sewing the horns on and sewing the bottom together, a pair of scissors, and an optional pair of 9mm safety eyes with backs. Now I say these are optional as, for example, this worry pet has got 9x11 safety eyes, and they work just fine, so any size. Or you could embroider them, you can needle felt them, you can use buttons, for example on my little uni pet here that was made for me by a friend, and you could just embroider them on as well. You don't have to use buttons. They were sewn on as well, not glued. I would recommend sewing, but for this video I'm going to be using these nice cute little 9mm safety eyes. You'll need a bit of stuffing, and just like in the other video, some yarn scraps. So when you've got all those tails and the offcuts and you don't know what to do with them, I store them in a little bag and I stuff my worry pets with the scraps. So it adds magic, love, patience and determination to each pet, and that's the nice little thing about these guys. So like I said, I'm going to try and make this video as beginner friendly as possible, which means I will be crocheting absolutely everything nice and slow so you can follow it stitch by stitch, and I won't speed anything up either. And hopefully I'll be able to help you learn how to read very basic patterns, as I will display each round as we get to it as a written pattern. So to start, we're going to create a magic ring. Make sure you got that cross on the back of your fingers. Insert the hook under the first strand and grab hold of that second, and then pull it off. So in this magic ring, we're going to place 8 stitches, and remember that the first stitch is a chain. So now I'm going to do 7 single crochets in here to make it a total of 8. See how my thumb and my middle finger are holding this knot constantly? It's so my stitches don't twist. If they twist, then you're going to run into some problems. There we go, that's the magic ring. So if you would like to pop your stitch marker into here so you don't lose it, that's optional. Personally, I don't like putting the stitch marker in until I've done round 1. So round 1, we're going to increase all the way around. So that's 2 single crochets in each stitch, and we will have a total of 16 stitches. Now for round 2, we're just going to single crochet in every single stitch, so we'll have a total of 16 stitches. So for round 3, we're going to single crochet, then increase all the way around. So the first stitch will be a single crochet, and then in the next stitch it will be an increase, so 2 single crochets into that stitch there, and that's our increase. And then I'm going to single crochet again into the next stitch, and then increase, and then we're going to continue doing this all the way around, and we will have a total of 24 stitches in this round. Now for round 4, we're just going to single crochet all the way around, so we'll have a total of 24 single crochets in round 4. So now for round 5, we're going to single crochet twice and then increase. We're going to do that all the way around. So we're going to single crochet. There's 1, single crochet again. There's 2. And then in the next stitch, we're going to pop an increase. That's 2 single crochets into this stitch here. There we go. So again, single crochet 1, single crochet 2, and then increase. And we're going to continue doing that all the way around until we have a total of 32 stitches in round 5. That's round 5 done. So now from round 6 to 8, so that's round 6, round 7 and round 8, we're just going to single crochet all the way around. So that will leave us with a total of 32 stitches in each round. Make sure you don't lose your stitch marker, and if at any point I am going too quickly, you can slow down the video. So let's do this. So that's round 8 completed. Now I'm just going to take a minute to insert my hook straight through that original magic ring, straight through like that. Grab hold of this tail and I'm just going to pull it back through. I'm just going to pull it nice and tight, and then I'm going to stick a knot in there just so I know that it won't come undone. There we go. So now this is completely optional. If you would like to colour change, that's how we get this ridge here. If you're using more than one colour, there is no limit. You can use as many as you like. For example, this guy's got 3, and this guy, because I ran out of the blue, so I just switched to purple. But yeah, I'll show you how to do a very quick colour change. So I'm going to use this orange. I thought that these two colours went nicely together, so you could see my stitches nice and easily as well. So to do a very nice easy colour change, I'm just going to insert my hook into the next stitch, and now I'm going to take up my other colour, so this nice orange, and I'm going to grab hold of it and pinch like that, and then I'm just going to pull it through the stitch of the previous round, and then I'm going to pull it through that green one like so. There's a nice slip stitch, and that's how I do these colour changes. They're not perfect, they're not flush, but as you can see they are pretty neat. They're not too noticeable. So I'll just do that again. So I'm going to insert my hook into the next stitch, grab hold of my secondary colour, grab hold of it with my hook, pinch, and then pull through the stitch, and then pull it through the green one as a nice slip stitch. And I'm just going to pull on that green tail slightly, just so it tightens it all up. Now that does count as the first stitch of the next row. So from round 9 to 11, so that's round 9, round 10 and round 11. Again, we're going to single crochet all the way around. Well, like I say, that was the first stitch, so now we're going to do 31 more single crochets to have a total of 32. And just like I said earlier, if I am crocheting too quickly, feel free to slow down the video. I'm trying to go as slow as I can. Now for round 12 we're going to single crochet twice and then decrease all the way around. So we're going to single crochet once, single crochet twice, and then we're going to decrease. So now I'm just going to take a minute to tuck these tails in here. So using my hook, I'm just going to go into the body of the pet and I'm going to come out just underneath each stitch, each strand of yarn. So for the green, I'm coming out just there, and then I'm going to pull it all the way through. And then for the orange, again, where there's quite a bit of space, I can just stick my hook through, make sure I come out just underneath where the orange is, grab hold and pull through. And that's how I like to do the colour changes. It's not perfect, but it's good enough for me and it's good enough for my little pets. So now I'm going to grab these two strings, I'm going to make sure that they're pulled nice and tight. I'm going to pop a double knot in there. And now they're nicely tucked out of the way, let's continue. So for round 13, we're going to single crochet and then decrease all the way around, and we'll have a total of 16 stitches for round 13. So we're going to single crochet and then decrease. And we're going to do this all the way around. And now for the final round, round 14, we're just going to decrease all the way around, so we'll have a total of 8 stitches. So we'll pop decrease, and then another decrease straight away, and we're going to do this all the way around. Now we can finish off and leave ourselves a nice long tail. And that's the main body done. So now let's move on to the horns. So for the little horns here, I'm going to use the same colour that I use for my base, this nice burnt orange colour. I think these colours work quite nicely together. So I'm just going to take up some more of my secondary colour and start with the Magic Ring 6. And now for the first round, I'm going to single crochet and then increase all the way around for a total of 9 stitches. Now the stitch marker is completely optional at this point for round 2 and round 3. So round 2 and round 3 we're just going to single crochet around. I'll keep the stitch marker in so you can see the split between the rounds. Now if you would like to slip stitch into the next stitch to finish off, that is completely optional. So that will just be a case of doing a quick slip stitch like so. However, for this video I'm not going to, I'm just going to leave it as is and then finish off. And now I'm going to pull this starting magic ring tail nice and tight and then pop a knot in there because we're going to turn this thing inside out. There we go, and the reason we turn it inside out is because it gives it more of a defined point, to make it more like a horn rather than a soft squishy ear thing. I just prefer it to be more pointed. So at this point I'll ask you to pause the video and rewind it and make 2 of these and then meet me back here in a couple of minutes. So now that we've got our little horns made, we'll just take a minute to set the eyes in and get this little worry pet going. So to set the eyes, we're going to identify where the colour change was and work from there. So we want this to be at the back of the pet. So I'm going to rotate to about here, and then using my hook I'm just going to count 3 stitches up. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, and poke my hook all the way through and widen that space a little bit. So now the first eye is in, not set yet. I'm just going to count 6 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then in the next stitch is where I'm going to widen the gap and then pop the second eye, and then we'll set them in. It looks ridiculous. Also, I needed some really superhuman strength to set those eyes in. I don't know what's wrong with those backs, but that hurt. Anyway, let's move on to stuffing this little guy. So to start with, I'm going to use just a little bit of stuffing to mainly bulk out the shape of the head. And the key to stuffing these guys is to do a little bit at a time. Don't shove huge wads in all at once. You want to break little pieces off and then just gently stuff, and make sure that you really work behind the eyes as well, so you can even out the stuffing as best you can. When you've managed to even the stuffing out around the eyes, I mean this guy is probably only half stuffed, that's where we break out these scraps. So take as many as you need and roll them up nice and tight, and then just dob them straight in the middle. So we want to try and avoid stuffing them near the edges, because otherwise you might see some of the colours poking through. So that's why I've stuffed the edges with the proper stuffing, and I'm just going to fill the middle bit with these scraps. And for the final bit of stuffing, because we don't want to see this through the bottom, we're just going to plug that last little bit up with just normal stuffing. And now we're going to take up a really small piece of stuffing, roll it into a ball, and I mean a really small piece of stuffing, and just to bulk out these horns a little bit. So now let's finish this guy. So to close up this hole, I'm going to take up my yarn needle and we're going to close it with an ultimate finish. Now I have got a guide on how to do that, but I'll show you a very quick crash course for it. So we're going to identify the stitch and we're going to thread the needle through only one of the loops of the stitch and then hold the tail with our finger. And then come back through and only snag hold of that topmost stitch there. And we're going to do this all the way around the finishing circle. So I should only have 8 strands to go through. There we go, and then just pull it nice and tight, and as you can see it just pulls everything nice and closed. Got a bit of stuffing stuck in there, whoops. And then just pop a nice basic knot and then thread it back through, stick it out somewhere, and then that can be snipped off. That'll be destined to go into another worry pet at some point. Now for the horns, you can use some pins to stick them in place while you sew. I'll do that for this video, but when you've made as many as I have, it gets to a point where you don't need pins. So we're going to line up the horns roughly where we want. They can be as high or as low as you want, or like my little uni here, you can have just one straight in the middle or some around the back. You've got creative freedom over how many horns you want and exactly where you want to put them. But for this guy, they're going to be just above the eye and just sat on top of the starting magic ring there. I'm not happy with that placement, so make sure that you play around and only move ahead when you are happy with the placement. This pet's entirely up to you. I'm going to have mine a bit more forward. Right, it's still not in line. There we go, I'm a bit happier with that placement. So to sew it on, we're going to thread up the yarn needle, and then as neatly as possible, we're going to go in, through the head, and then we're going to dive under the horn and come out through the stitches, and try not to snag any stuffing as you go, because otherwise you end up pulling it through and it's a pain in the bum to pull out. And then we're going to go back into that same stitch that we just came out of and jump over, and then under the horn to come out. This is the neatest way I know to sew pieces of amigurumis together. So we're going to go into that stitch that we just came out of, move over, and then go under the horn. Okay, so that's one horn sewn on pretty neat. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm not too bothered about these bits sticking down. I think all of my pets have got that sticking down at some point. And there we go, there's your finished little pet. Now this one is actually a lot squishier than what I normally make them. I usually make them a bit firmer. I think I quite like this guy. He's really squishy. So if you would like to see exactly where I leave these guys, I do make a post on my Instagram every time I hide one of these in public. You can find that at Blue Fox Paws. I will also put that in the description below. And if you do make these, please, please, please do tag me, because I love to see the colour combinations that you guys come up with. And especially if you also hide them in public. I do love to see where they go and if they get picked up. I've had a few people get in touch with me over the past year saying that they've found one, and I must admit it always makes my day. So yes, please do tag me if you make them, because I'm always excited to see the colour creations that you come up with and to see if you hide them anywhere. Please don't sell the pattern, as I did spend a bit of time making these, and also the fact it's a free one, you know, this will always be a free pattern. So please just don't sell it. It will always be free. And all I ask for if you do make these is a bit of credit, you know, just try to point people in the direction of these videos so they can also see how to make them. It will mean a great deal to me. So thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss my future tips, tricks and free crochet patterns, and I really hope to see you in the next video. Bye for now.